the Charles Daly Honcho in 410. Let's check it out. A lot of firearm companies have been bringing out designs that just kind of ride the line, but yet stay legal. And that's what we have here with this little Honcho. I mean, we've had the TAC 14 by Remington, we've had the Shockwave by Mossberg, these little super compact 14-inch barreled shotguns. And yet, it's not really considered a shotgun, it's considered a firearm. And, you know, it's just really cool to see a lot of these companies introducing these type guns. This is the Charles Daly Honcho. It's in 410. They also make it in a 12 and 20 gauge as well. But 410 in one of these little small compact firearms is just a lot of fun. I mean, the recoil's less, it's easier to control, it's super lightweight. But what I really like about the 410, which differentiates between the 20 and the 12 in the Honcho line, is this. Has that spring assisted pump action, and man, it is fast to shoot. Now I want to thank Nate over at GunProDeals for sending the Honcho. I was completely unaware of this firearm until he got in touch with me, and he said, I think this is something you want to check out. And I tell you what, I was not disappointed. There's just something about 410 in a shotgun that just makes it light shooting. You still have some spread, you still have that shot capability, yet the recoil is really light. And that's one of the things about this little Charles Daly Honcho. Love the name too, it's the Honcho. But what we're going to do is check to make sure the gun is unloaded, and it is. This is one of the 14-inch barreled models, so it's not really considered a pistol or a shotgun, it's considered a firearm. And we've recently did the Mossberg 590 Shockwave, which is in the similar vein. And that's one of the things that's become very popular, are these really short shotguns. If this was considered a standard shotgun, the barrel would have to be at least 18 inches. But because of the way this is designed, it's considered a firearm. So it has a 14-inch barrel, and then the overall length is 27 inches. It's a very small package, but yet you still have a lot of capability. Now, there's a lot of people that wonder about this as a self-defense option, and there's a lot of argument about it. And we'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But one of the cool things about the Honcho is that I pull back the slide, and it's spring assisted. It actually goes forward. Now, you'll be tempted to let it go. But when you do, you're going to lose your grip. And so it really just assists in making it faster shooting. And it definitely does. I have a TriStar 12 gauge that's in the same kind of configuration with the spring action, and it is really fast. Now you'll see marked on the barrel, it says 410 bore. This is not 410 gauge. Real 410 gauge would actually equate to 67 gauge. Bore is actually the diameter by inches, and so it's just about 41 caliber. You will also notice that this firearm is made in Turkey. There are a lot of shotguns that are coming out of Turkey right now, and actually they're pretty good quality for the price. Now it does shoot 3-inch shells, and it'll do 5 in the tube and then 1 in the chamber. So you have 6 rounds right at your fingertips. But of course it will shoot the standard 2.5-inch shells. It has kind of a matte parkerized finish on it. Just to be straight up, we did drop this on the way to the range. It got a little scuffed up, but I love the finish. The grip is nice, has this texturing where the fingers grab, and this is called a gooseneck grip. I think the TAC 14 and the Shockwave, they call it the birdhead grip. It does have your standard cross bolt safety. One thing too, the trigger is really nice. I mean, it's good and crisp. They call it the single trigger system. Has a nice clean break to it. The action is smooth as butter. And I'll tell you guys, we had a lot of fun taking this out to the range. I mean, it's just so soft shooting. Here, the fore end is ribbed here at the bottom and then checkered, just to give you a good solid grip. Again, makes it really easy. And then with this little bit of elevation right here, it helps for your hand just to stay in place. It has a black blade front sight, and then just a groove that goes all the way down the top of the receiver. It is an aluminum receiver. It is engraved here, CD Defense for Charles Daly Defense. And then right here, Honcho. I think some of the early models had this marked out in white, but I do like the more subdued black. Now it has a chrome follower. It's really slick, and then you just take and push your rounds all the way through until you hear a click. And again, it does hold 5 rounds. Now I'm not going to load this because I'm in my shop, but the action is really very well done. You can see this beveling all the way on the outside. Makes it just a little bit easier to get those shells in. Now one of the things, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, but getting those shells to fit down in there takes a little bit of practice to get that smaller hole, and that has a lot to do with, you know, the 410, because it's just so small compared to 12 and 20 gauge. The barrel cap has nice knurling, and of course you can just take this right off if you want to change barrels. But I think that that's one of the biggest appeals, is this little 14-inch barrel. And look how narrow this thing is. I mean, it is super lightweight. In fact, the weight on the Honcho is stated at 4 pounds 1 ounce, and I thought that was kind of ironic that it's a 410 bore. But I put it on my scale, it was exactly 4 pounds and 2 ounces. And you can see the bars, as we pull back, they are chromed, so it's going to give it very smooth action. I love that. Now, because of the Taurus Judge and the Smith & Wesson Governor, there are a lot of ammo companies that have produced some self-defense loads. Whether it's Hornady, Winchester, Federal, here we have some Remington, and then we just have some older Winchester hunting rounds, and we have the Herders. And this gives you a lot of different options. Typically before, it could be difficult to find 410 loads, but a lot of times gun shops will carry a number of different loads now for those firearms. And so I think that really aids in self-defense. And a great video to look at for 410 home defense is Paul Harrell's video. I'll have it linked up here as an annotation right here, and go to that video and you can see some of the testing that he did between a 12 and the 410. And from his findings, I think that, you know, a good self-defense load in a 410 is going to take care of things. But one of the great things about 410 is it is light in recoil. And with this little Honcho, it's so lightweight as well. Now, we just did a review on the Mossberg 590 Shockwave in 12 gauge. And that was a handful. I mean, I'll just be straight honest with you. Of course, 12 gauge is definitely an effective self-defense option, especially for home defense, one of the best. But when you get down to 410, there are a lot of different ammo choices to make this a viable self-defense option, yet the recoil is just pleasurable. I mean, it is fun to shoot. It was really funny because my daughter, she was watching and she was kind of like, I don't know. And I handed it to her, and these are some of her first shots. That's not bad.
Oh, I love it.
Now, this spring action, I mean, it just makes it quick, but you'll be tempted to let go of it like this, and then if you're not careful and you fire that shot, you know, it can get a little bit out of control. Now, it's definitely more pronounced with 12 and 20 gauge, but even with the 410. But I love this handguard. I mean, it's got this back area where you can grip, and it kind of keeps it in place, allows you to bring that pump back really fast. The gooseneck grip is what they call it. It's comfortable. There was no pain in your hand from shooting this. Now, we did have some issues with the Herders 410 ammunition. I don't know if it was a little bit longer or what the difference was, but it was not feeding. We'd shoot about 3 rounds, and then it just wouldn't eject the last shell, and the other shell would kind of want to creep up in there. went back to our standard Winchester, and we had a number of different loads we were using, and we didn't have any other problems with any of that ammunition. You want to take this out and test it to make sure that it's feeding. But I'll tell you guys, we had a lot of fun with this little firearm. Rubber Dummies is one of the best training tools on the market, and you get a 10% discount using Suit00 when you click the link down in the description. I didn't have any experience at all with the Honcho. In fact, I didn't even realize that Charles Daly had offered these. They do offer this also in the 12 and 20 gauge, but it's not spring assisted. On the GunProDeals website, these run $261.99. I think the MSRP is $369. Now, definitely with any firearm that you're considering for self-defense, you need to get it out and train, especially considering that we did have a few problems with the 410 shot shells from Herters. You know, you want to make sure that the gun is functioning with what ammo you use, and that can happen in a number of different firearms. To me, the overall quality, the finish was just excellent. Yes, this gun is made in Turkey and sold by Charles Daly, but I'll tell you what, Turkey is really putting out some really high quality shotguns. So I think the Charles Daly, great little shotgun, a lot of fun. Excellent for vehicle defense, home defense. I mean, you could really take care of things. And again, with all the different self-defense loads that have come out because of the Taurus Judge and the Smith & Wesson Governor, it does give us just a lot of options. And again, I want to thank Nate at GunProDeals for sending the Honcho and their sponsorship of the channel. It's great to be able to get different firearms that I can just choose or that can be suggested, and Nate did a great job with this one. And guys, I'll tell you, we can bring a lot of different firearms to you, so show your support as well. Woo! That's all right. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And yet the recoil is really light, and it got a little Scott, and you can see the arms, and you can see the two, and you can see the rock, and yet the recoil is just pleasure. Love that action. Oh yeah.